Hey, everybody. Welcome to our episode 27. Welcome, everybody. Today, we don't have Kelly Kennedy with us today. He's busy being a dad today. So, more news coming. So, excited for his family. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to Authentic Hustle number 27. Colin and I are so excited to get this episode started. Let's get going, guys. Hey, Colin, how are you doing today?
Yeah, doing real good. Thanks for asking. Exciting day, especially for Kelly as he's away and we're going to man the fort. And thanks, VJ, for getting us live and taking us there. And with the listeners, if there's one or two or 10 of you out there today, right now, as we logged on, VJ's name said Kelly. So he was almost Kelly Kennedy today in Kelly's studio. But it's super exciting day. Exciting day for Kelly as Shelby may have, and will very soon, if she hasn't, to give birth to their second child. So it's a super exciting day. And so, yeah, so today it's just myself and VJ, my co-host. And so I thought we'd do something a little different. We're not going to spin. We're not going to talk about current events other than what's currently going on in VJ's life. But I thought I would take a moment for a blue sky moment. And VJ, my thought pattern today was I'm just going to riddle you with questions.
Go
And
ahead.
you can take 10 seconds or you can take 10 minutes, but at the end of the day, we have 29 minutes left. So,
Let's do it.
yeah, okay. So let's go. Blue sky thinking, visionary and big picture. That's what it's all about. What does blue sky thinking mean to you personally?
Blue sky think. I mean, the word blue sky thinking. Of course, I've known blue sky, but like the philosophy of it, the meaning behind it, I've gotten to know about blue sky through you, Colin. I mean, I would
Right.
apply. So the first time I met you, hey, it's all about blue sky, and we did the podcast, of course, and that's when I originally understood blue sky. It's about relentless optimism, always being like having that energy to smile and say hello, being positive. That's the energy I learn from you every single time
Right.
I interact
Yeah.
with you. So that's what blue sky means to me. And today you don't have the blue sky behind you. Normally you sit in a place where you have like two
I
blue sky
do.
windows.
That's right.
Yeah. So the moment you say blue sky, I think of you. No kidding. So
Cool. Okay. If there were no limit, time, money, or fear, what would you build or create? And I think that's a good question for you. So if there were no limit, time, money, or fear, what would you build or create?
no limit, time, money, or fear. I mean, like current
You have all of those right now.
no limit, time, money, or fear. Yeah, fear is not something I'm fearful about. When you say no limit, what do you mean? Like from a time point of view,
Yeah.
or
So all that if there was nothing holding you back and you were gonna take a pad and start writing notes about what you want to build, how would you do that?
Mm-mm-mm.
What would you build that out to be? Or better yet, what are you building that out to be? Because that's what you're doing right now, right? You
Yeah,
have no fear going forward. You do need to raise money.
right.
That's reality.
That's
You're
right.
in the AI space and it's not free and it's not cheap. And to continue that on and the time it takes to do that. So
Yeah.
what are you why don't you tell us what are you building and how do you plan to get there?
Yeah, I mean, like you know my story pretty much. Like, so I've been in the tech industry for about like 2 decades now. Did a lot of corporate work, and like last 3, 4, 5 years, I've started out venture myself, and I'm learning the business landscape myself. So one thing I'm really thankful is for spending about 3 to 4 years understanding what money is. And for a long time, I didn't understand what people were. So because I was the guy sitting behind the desk, just doing what I'm told to do for the paycheck, like the guy, right? And that's what I was doing for a long time. And I didn't have any. I wouldn't lie. I didn't have any people skills or anything. I mean, people say I'm extrovert or introvert. No one knows
Right.
because I'm not comfortable being around 100 people or even in a room for like 30 people, right? So I didn't understand the people skills at all. So that is something I had to learn, go talk to people. Then I started enjoying it, Colin, to be very honest, when I started meeting more people for business opportunities, networking, and whatnot. Then I thought, okay, if a lot of the misconceptions that I had from a societal point of view were like disappeared because so many things, the bias and there's so many things that's out there, the nonsense from the
Right.
mainstream media that left. So I'm thankful for that. And so the question is like I'm still trying to process your question.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but here's where I wish I could go at some point, and I wish this for many others as well, because a lot has been, I mean, nothing against real estate or buying a home or anything like that. I've bought homes and had them. I'm sitting in my own home as well, but at the same time, it creates a lot of location dependence. I've lived in
Mm.
like 14 cities so far,
Right.
and that creates a lot of location dependence because you go to a city, right? It takes 2 to 3 months to get acclimated to that city, get comfortable around that, but after that, it's like any other city. So
Okay.
I've done that in the US, was in like Iowa and Pennsylvania. I've done that. I've been in Ontario and like in Alberta. Like after living in so many cities, I found like it doesn't matter. So that's why everything I'm building, it's an online internet based business, right? Because
Right.
you can be anywhere. You can be in Abu Dhabi or you can be in Toronto or anywhere,
Yeah.
right? So because that location dependence is something it holds people back, right? So I don't want to be in that zone. So that is
Yeah.
one my priority. So three things, and the other one is like time, right? So people bound
Right.
by time. So 9 to 5. So if you're
Yeah.
getting a job, you're bound by time. On Wednesday morning, you want to take your family to Banff, right? You should be able to do that.
Right.
That's my goal. I'm not saying I'm there, but that's my goal. And the third one is of course like freedom of money. So all these
Mhm.
three things are my
Yeah.
core vision for long term: freedom of location, freedom of time, and freedom of money.
Yeah.
So anything I'm building, I would be attributing to that.
Well, and the commonality of all three is freedom, right?
Yeah,
So what we're
that's right.
building towards is freedom. And my wife and I were talking about that the other day. We're coming back from Osoyoos. And I said, we're getting there. We're almost there, I think. But wouldn't it be nice? And we weren't in that circumstance if we didn't have to long weekend when everybody long weekends, right? If that makes sense. If we didn't wait until, Thanksgiving or the September long weekend or August or May long weekend or, one of the 7 long weekends there is in a year to go when everybody else is going. And, I heard that a couple of the national parks in Alberta here, they were capacity on the weekend,
Right,
right? They couldn't
right,
let anybody else in. What if we could go leave on Tuesday morning and come home on Friday afternoon?
right. That'll be nice.
Imagine and imagine you could go to the grocery store and Costco and there'd be nobody there because 'cause they're all out on the highway,
Yeah,
right? So, that's a real freedom, and that's something to work towards, right? That's not the ultimate goal, like, freedom is different for everybody. Blue sky freedom to me is being able to go most times where you want, when you want, right? And that
right,
doesn't mean,
right.
so I was away for 4.5 days or whatever it was. Well, we did the podcast. Well, I stopped in
Yeah,
a parking lot
from the,
halfway
from the
through.
chopper, from the
From the
chopper,
from the
everybody.
chopper, that's right. And my wife said, "Well, you never told me it was gonna be 2 hours." And I said, "Well, because you wouldn't never have agreed, right?" But it didn't stop me, but I had the freedom to stop, in Fernie in a parking lot and do the podcast and chat with
Right,
you guys prior to, and then continue on. Not a hiccup in the day, didn't slow us down. We got there, we enjoyed our space. The beautiful part of what I would call blue sky freedom even was I had a couple real estate deals going on, was able to do them from there. Once again, it was different. It's not the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4:30 or the 3 to 7 or 7 to 3, right? Or 11 to 7. It's not a shift work thing. It's a work when I need to work.
right.
Maybe that means I go 12 hours straight, which I do often. And then the next day, I don't have to. So the next thing, what's a dream that you've had that still scares you?
The
That's a
skills still scares me. No,
Okay, let's say this. What if so Exadwell blows up, right? That's the
right,
goal, and you're gonna get there. You're on your way.
right, right,
Blows up, and then you're wherever, you're international, right? Which you are already, the way it's set up, the platform. But now you have offices in different countries, different time zones. I won't even say just countries, time zones, right? Because that's
right.
really what the game changer is.
That's right.
And and then the exponential growth hits. Does that scare you where it could go? Like you have a trajectory where you're going, how you're going to get there. Is there any, not fear, but does that scare you at all or not?
I mean, the growth doesn't scare me at all. In a month, I get
Yeah.
so many ideas in terms of like scaling it, in terms of like how we can. What if this happens? What if he had a location in Charlotte? What if he had a
Right.
location in
Yeah.
Halifax? Like
Yeah.
that's. I mean, that's how I naturally think.
Oh, awesome.
No. I mean, so scale, and I'm sure like I'm sure I'll be able to like put more effective leaders who are
Yeah.
better than me, who can manage scale and whatnot, and of course, well paid and whatnot. Right. So I rely on like I think people are better. I mean, I'm not the best, so there are better people out there. So I'm sure like I will take their help. Yeah. And even with our locations across India and Latin America, like Mario is fantastic. Right. I mean, he reached out and we started talking. And the funny part is like Mario doesn't speak a word of English. I mean, he does, but like he's like me speaking Spanish, like "Cómo estás" and "Buenos días." Those are the two words I know. But he's a great guy, and we connected, and like his daughter comes and interprets for us in English and Spanish actually. So that's how we met, and I visited there, and like he helps out in the Latin American region, and then my good friend like from Bangalore, from Indian location, takes care of the Indian location. So we are already thinking in that regard, but like man, I get like the consulting business, it's not easy. It's actually super tough. No. So
do you ever would you ever do anything like we've all heard of vision boards, right?
Yeah.
Like on your wall, like I'm thinking right now as we're talking that I should almost develop a blue sky board, right? That I can put on my wall. And same thing as you're saying, like, so you have a blue sky board, you have Bangladesh, you have Boston, right? In the United States, you have all those locations just so like, I think the vision board has gone a little bit away because I don't like the grind, hustle, this, that, the other thing, get a McLaren, get a Lamborghini, and that's what's on your vision board. Just because I think that's false hope. I think that's leading up to false hope. Like very few people will ever get those. And I think part of that is not that the funds aren't there. The funds may be there, but that may not be your freedom, right? Your freedom is not like to leave your family sitting in the house and then you go drive off in your 2-seater car, right? For some that is, but not for all. So I wonder if, well, that's something that I'm going to write a note down too, as well as, a blue sky board where here's my blue sky thinking, right? How am I going to get there? What's that going to look like? I need to look at it now and then move the parts as it goes, right? You move them around the globe, you move them around the time zones. So that's really cool. So, and what I like is what you said is it doesn't scare you. And how I know it doesn't scare you, you wouldn't start if it scared you, right? I think fear keeps us from starting and fear keeps us from moving ahead. So good.
Can I tell you one like funny story, sure. Colin? I mean, like just reminds me of that. Like I have two stories, but one thing I found was like, have you known like the Bose, the brand, like the this is a Bose headset, but I mean, like the reason I even mentioned the brand is because like when I was like much younger, like probably 20 years ago or something, like my like the Recruit co-founder Avinash, like you're about to meet him. Like so he and I, so we were in the streets of Bangalore, and like we walked across a Bose like store, right? So and so that is a home theater system that's called. I'm like an audio freak. I like great audio, great sound. Like so, I'm that guy, right? So it's not just watching movies. I want to watch movie with quality, like sound, and like that's I've always been like that. So we went to go to this Bose store, and there's I even remember that set. It's called Lifestyle 48. It's a home theater system, pretty much, right? So and our goal at the time was to get that, right?
Yeah.
We both had that. Okay, we got to get that home theater system because we didn't have it at the time. And now looking back on that, like I could get like 5 or 10 different home theater systems if I wanted to, but like it doesn't excite me at all. Like it's not that I've moved because that is not a priority anymore. But I look at that moment and laugh like, wow. So wow,
because that was yours, right?
Yes. I mean, I never bought it, but like thing is, I do have like other systems, which I think Samsung and Sony and other things. But like now, I'm not even like thinking in the direction because I was thinking too small. I think I didn't have the bigger vision, and maybe I was short sighted back then. Right, because I didn't know how the world operates. Even now, I'm learning. I'm no expert at all. But like every time I think about that moment, I chuckle because we both wanted that. But like he's in Windsor right now. Yeah, so the life has moved on and took us to a different trajectory. So he went to Germany, and I came to the US. That happened, but I just was thinking about the moment and I was laughing because, like, when we are drawing a vision, sometimes, you're not really like one author. I was talking to Mike Mack the other day, and I'm really happy to have read that author is Robin Sharma. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I'm sure you know Robin Sharma is based out of Toronto. Great guy. So, I mean, he's one of the reasons, maybe that's why the reason I'm here today, Colin. So,
really? Okay.
Maybe. I think because some of his books I've read. he has that like the blue sky. He doesn't say blue sky, but he has that like
He does.
relentless optimism. He
Yeah.
has more faith in people
Yeah.
than I do in myself. So
Yeah.
I love that about it.
Well, and you know, I never thought about that before you said that, because I've read not all of his books, but majority of them for sure, and follow him and listen to him. And I think that's what I'm drawn to. I follow people like that because it's a like sound, right? It's what I like to
Right.
hear as well, and it helps me vision. It helps me vision cast or do that type of thing. And I like what you said there, but it makes me ask this question: what problem in the world do you feel most called to solve? And the reason I ask that one now is I like what you said is, you thought you were gonna have this home theater system. That was on your
Yeah.
that was on your dream board. That was your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? Your
Right.
BHAG.
Right.
Now what's changed, like you're getting there, you could buy that if you wanted to buy that. When you need a vehicle, you just buy a vehicle,
Right.
those types of things. So what would it be now? Like, what is it that you're called to? Like, I know you love to serve people or be there for people. I know you're a humanitarian, you believe in people. So what do you feel you're called to serve? Like outside of building a business, doing that type of thing, is there something that, your aha moment of, here's what I'm going to do. One day I want to do this.
I want to be able to get to know more people. Like I want to have more people in my dinner table.
Right.
That
Yeah.
may be one of my goals.
Yeah.
Sit down and chat with people. So that is something I would love to have, and yeah, and of course beyond family, I want to be able to help more people, and
Yeah.
I want to be able to give the kind of help that I never got.
Right.
So
Yep.
that is there on my thing. And three things that excites me. I was talking to even like Mike the other day was like leadership, technology, and humanity. That's I put it everywhere because like those three things inspire me. Like great leadership inspires me. Like a lot of great leaders have inspired me. You yourself, you're a fantastic leader, Colin. You inspire me all the time. Kelly as well. And in terms of technology, I've been a technologist for a long time. That inspires me, like what we're able to do with technology, even this podcast,
Right.
the breadth and width of like technology is like always awe inspiring. And humanity, the reason I put humanity is because at one point, especially after COVID, there was an incident that happened. I told Kelly the other day on the authentic hustle meeting that we
Mm.
had, like
Yep.
I couldn't share that. So what happened after COVID was, I mean, no controversy at all. But at the same time, I took my second shower. 2 weeks after that, I had adverse reaction. I had like redness in my eyes, right?
Right.
So I initially started as redness, and I couldn't actually. It started really getting intense,
Mm.
and I had to take an Advil like every hour, like
Right.
true
Wow.
facts, right?
Yeah.
So there was a day, that day, I think I probably took like 8 or 9 Advils.
Wow.
And middle of 2 a.m., it's like I took an Advil at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and the pain started coming back, and it was really intense. Then we went to the ER. I couldn't drive, so my wife
Yep.
drove to the ER. We were in Ontario back then, and
Mm.
the doctor couldn't figure out what it was. The only other thing there was no change in anything, any recent foreign thing that I consumed or anything at all. The only thing I could think of was the recent shot I took, but I'm not taking I'm not going to that rabbit hole. It's a different
Yeah.
rabbit hole. But at the same time, it was intense. But like recovering after that, after a month or so, I was recovered and whatnot. But it was really intense.
Mm.
And I thought, what if I mean, doctor said you would have lost your eyesight. That's what the doctor said.
Wow. Okay.
And coming out of COVID and learning about money and how society works, I mean, I thought, okay, the only thing probably matters is probably people. That's why I have
Mhm.
put humanity there because that's all we got. We're not going to go
That's
back
right.
to an ant
That's right.
colony and live there.
Yeah.
That's all we got. So it's a people. So that's the reason I say humanity.
Mm.
Nothing else. So I'm just sharing the
Yeah.
story. The reason why I put humanity there. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. Huh. Super interesting. And I love knowing why people, why they're looking forward and what they're looking for. So it made me think, like, if I am gonna develop this blue sky board into something, right? And it made me think of that when you said you want to invite more people around the table, right? So if I had the VJ blue sky board, I would have a long table on there, right?
Right.
That's what I would have. And envisioning that there's going to be people sitting around that table, right? It's like, hey, honey, get the leaf. We got to put another leaf in this table, right? There's more
Right.
people. And I think that's what community is, right?
Right.
That's what we have to grow more of is community. And I think what we've gone away from as society is community. I think
Right.
COVID really broke that up. any community that was there. I've seen Sebastian Maniscalco, or however you say his name. I don't know if you know that comedian. I'll send you some links after. He's
Sure, yeah.
super funny. But he talks about he's an old Italian family, and he talks about community, and he talks about how, back in the day, people just show up at their house for coffee, and they would be ready for it. Like there's always coffee on. He's pretty funny. He's like, break out the Sara Lee cake, right? The good cake. The people are here. And then he says, now your doorbell rings. Everybody hits the floor, right? Who is it? What? Why is there somebody ringing our doorbell? Right? Get the
Right.
gun. Like,
Right.
but there's
Yeah,
no community. Your community is only on the inside of those doors, and it shouldn't
that's
be,
right.
right? Like
That's right.
like people I find now too are they're so apprehensive. You see them somewhere in public, and you can tell if somebody wants to talk or not, right? But most
Right.
times we're so hurried and we have so little freedom. We can't even stop to talk for 5 minutes. Like
Right.
that's the problem, right? We don't have freedom. We have to get to the next place. My wife was saying when we were away there for a few days, if we were to do it all again with our kids, we would have them in less sports, right? We would do less things that way because we lived probably 10 years of running from practice to game to where we were burnt out,
Right.
right? And not once thinking that we told the kids, hey, you love this. This is what you love, right? Trying to
Right.
program them. This is what you do. Why don't you play
Right.
badminton too? Because I could burn another 45 minutes of our day. Not
Right.
that it's bad to do those things, but there was no balance, right? For sure. So, here's a tough question. What's a belief you held 5 years ago that you've since outgrown or that you don't believe anymore? Right.
Uh,
It's a tough one.
can I
Yeah,
respond to your last one? I just
sure.
had
Oh,
something
yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah,
share.
for sure.
Maybe it's different, Colin. So I was thinking it's the mansion. I was thinking it's the
Uh,
next Cybertruck or whatever the car is,
yep.
like or the F-150 or whatever, right?
Yep.
So and I got to interact. Like, thanks for all the conversations with people. Thank you for that. I spoke to so many like VPs and general managers and vice presidents and CEOs and whatnot. And at some point, I understood they themselves may have money or whatnot, whatever, but they're not really happy, quote unquote, right? So
Yeah.
I felt that the more I dug, this is what I found out. I could be wrong, but because I think they have created an entrapment because of their lifestyle itself. It's the golden handcuff. They all talk about the golden
Yeah.
handcuff, but it's probably the handcuff.
Mhm.
It's a lifestyle that they wanted and they created it,
Yep.
and that is an entrapment for them.
Yep.
And what I learned, takeaway from that is like I don't want to be in that spot,
Right.
right? Because that's why I stopped chasing titles. That's the
Right.
reason I stopped chasing followers. I
Yeah.
don't want to have 10 million followers, 100 million followers,
Right.
because that's a trap by itself,
Yeah.
right? Because if the moment you have 10 million followers, like then you have a
You're
duty to fill, right?
you're
You have an
accountable.
expectation to meet.
Accountability. Yeah.
100%. So it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to do the CEO role. I'm not supposed to do the VP role. No, that's not what I mean. Because like those titles don't mean anything if you cannot wake up and have a blue sky moment, Colin.
That's
Like
right. That's
that's
right. Yeah.
so. Just wanted to share that because I felt people need to hear that. So
Yeah. You
sorry,
know what?
Colin. Can
No.
yeah.
You know what correlates with that was I read it somewhere is if you have a Rolex but
Yeah.
it tells you when you have to return back to work, you shouldn't have a Rolex,
Oh
right?
man, like I don't wear a watch, but I told my wife the
Uh,
next watch I'll be wearing
yeah,
is a Rolex.
yeah,
And she asked why I haven't worn a watch in
yeah,
20 years.
right.
I mean, after I got my first cell phone, like 2003 or something, like I haven't worn a watch
Yeah,
because the cell phone has time, right? Why
that's
do I
right.
need like redundancy, right?
Yeah,
So the next watch I said, like it's going to be a Rolex. Otherwise, I'm not buying a watch. So
yeah, yeah.
but,
See,
you make me chuckle. Yeah.
and it won't tell you when to go back to work, right?
No. Yeah.
Uh,
That's when I'll buy it. Yeah.
right. So, so there's a bunch of those things. So I really like this talk because it helps me as well, right? Like even
Right.
the blue sky board or whatever it's called, the BSB, um, visioning that type of thing. What's blue sky for me is, yeah, just one last question would be, what's a belief you held 5 years ago that you don't believe in now? Right? Something, whether it's
Uh,
business, right? You were following, and you know what? I'll touch on this quick too. One thing that happened for me in this past year, which is really, really good, is I think it was 17 years in a row in my corporate world. I attended a conference, one or two a year, key ones that I detested wearing the lanyard, right? I had a lanyard that had my name, where I'm from. Hello, I'm
Right.
Colin. I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, right? I
Right.
see the same people and they hire some new ones or acquire some new companies. Um, and that lanyard put me into a meeting room that usually nobody wanted to be in. It was flavor of the week or flavor of the month or flavor of the year, whatever the jargon was going on. And we were herded around more or less wherever we went on these resorts. The resort was beautiful. There was some awards night. I think they were rigged, but there was awards nights, that type of thing. And I said,
Right.
one day I'm not going to live in this rat race and I'm
Mhm.
going to go to a resort and there's going to be a bunch of lanyard wearers there and I'm going to go to the pool. So this last May it happened. I was at this resort in
Love that.
California and it was beautiful. And I walked in wearing a muscle shirt, tank top,
Yeah.
and I saw these people, with their little, insignia, their logo on the little notepad that they got in their pack in their room and their matching
Yeah.
pen and their water bottle.
Right.
They had 20 minutes for breakfast and they were racing down to the opening speech. And I was laughing. Like it was so nice outside. And I just had a coffee and I was headed to the pool. And then I was at the pool so long, my wife and kids, and we're at this pool and there's I mean, my kids are older, 23, 24, right? And their
Right.
boyfriends were there. And I remember I looked over and there was a couple guys in Dockers and a golf shirts. They had a
Right.
break and they came to sit at the pool for 10 minutes. And I looked, I said, "Look at the lanyard wearers. They're here." And I wasn't making fun of them, but I was making fun
Right.
of the position, right?
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I've created some freedom. I've got there."
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
that was a real good feeling for me. And then the rest of the day, you know, I could see them scurrying around, right? They're off to their next meeting. They cut across the pool. Wow, it's nice out here, and then they probably had a golf event or something. And then by 6:30, it was back to the conference hall. And where
Right.
was I? I hadn't moved. I was reading a book. I was ordering another cold drink.
That's how you roll. Yeah.
Yeah, pina colada, right? And when you said that fellow you work with speaks Spanish, right? The only Spanish I know is uno cerveza, por favor, right? I think that's one more beer, please.
One more place. Yeah.
Anyway, but that's blue sky freedom, right? And
Right.
and moving on. So yeah, before we wrap it up, what have you thought about it? I didn't give you a chance. I'm sorry I cut you off. What's a belief you held 5 years ago that you no longer hold, if there is one, right?
I mean, one thing I would encourage anyone, and for me, is like because like the LinkedIn posts sometimes like I'd be very honest, Colin. Some posts are like selfish posts, right? Some posts,
Yep.
but
Yep.
you're not going anywhere without human beings and fellow humanity. So I 4 5 years ago, I thought, okay, fine. Oh no, I have to keep posting. It's not about me. It's actually about the person reading it. I've said it in the Authentic Hustle
Yeah.
before, but it's about the person reading it. That's one belief I would encourage anyone. It's not about you. What can you do for others? I think that's what matters. So
100%.
I've learned that. And the other one is like, if there's always an agenda for anyone. Like, how do I say it without sounding controversial? The thing is, like, I would say, do your research on anything that's being told to you. If you're being
Mm,
asked to do something, do the research, right? Most of the times, there may be a bigger something that's
mhm.
going on that you may not be fully aware. But do your own research and dig deeper. And yeah, if you're just getting your news from the TV,
Mhm.
that may not be enough because the TV, here's a simple way to break it down. Let's say news is free, right? But nothing is free in this world, right? They are running a for-profit business. They need to make
That's
money.
right.
So who is paying the news companies,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
So there are a few ads, yes, but like who is they need to they need to keep the lights on. So who is
That's right.
paying them?
The
So
puppet
they will
master.
only say those
Yeah.
things, right? So go beyond that. I think be active. At least you don't have to be actively posting content, but at least like research better. That's something I learned coming out of COVID, Colin. So those are the two things. I'm not
Mhm.
watching news since
Mhm.
2019 or 2020, so I don't watch it ananymore.
That's good.
Not daily news. So those are the two things I would share with anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's strong and it hits hard. I also love what you thought you had to post back then, right?
Right.
And a lot of that comes from I think we would post to get a reaction because we wanted attention, right?
Right.
Oh, this will hit home. oh, this will hit home. And you know what? And I've had to go away from, I think that's the selfie world, right? It's a
Right.
selfie post, right? Oh, even if it's just words, right? Here's my selfie in words. I'm going to write this and it's going to create a bunch of controversy or get a bunch of attention. I'm going to see how many people like it or comment on it, as opposed to, um, I like that, and I'm very thankful you always comment when I make a post or do something, right? I'm very, it's
I love them
yeah,
actually.
right? But and what I try to do is real life experience, what I'm seeing through my lenses today where I am, right? Like the post I did about they're excavating behind my house, right? And I
Right.
kept looking at that equipment thinking, "What? Wow, like look at all that equipment." And then because I come from an equipment background and we build equipment, I'm like, there's millions of dollars just and then I'm like, who owns that equipment? I see the name, I know the guy. I'm like, he's got like $3 million sitting there.
Right.
And then I'm telling my wife, "Do you know how much per hour each one of those machines?" And that's what gets me going, but then I'm like, "They're building something." Each one of us is building something, which that's where I crafted the post, right?
Right.
And it comes to that as opposed to, "Oh, here I am," like, when I was in California there, I didn't take a picture of somebody wearing a lanyard, right? That's just personal to me, right? I didn't take a selfie of me sitting there in the lawn chair. All that mattered to me was that I knew how I felt. That was the
Right.
freedom that I was working towards. That was important to me, more so than I could write something about freedom, how you get
Yeah.
there, and
Right.
to hopefully help or encourage somebody else to wanna get there if that's
Right.
if that's their goal, right? And many people aren't. They're industrial age, the drill press, right? Like, I'm a
Right.
human drill press and if they're happy to do that, good. Good for them.
Right.
So, anyway, but no, I'll round it up with this. Thanks very much for your answers. Thanks for being honest and candid. I love that. Right. Kelly, thank you for allowing me to hijack Authentic Hustle and make it a blue sky moment.
No, Colin, I
And
cannot let you get away with that. I mean,
yeah,
thank you for asking those like wonderful questions. Like, so I mean, anyone watching Authentic
yeah,
Hustle, think, oh, these co-hosts, come on. But Colin, I really appreciate for those wonderful questions. And every time I interact with you, I mean, if anyone you have not interacted with Colin, you should go
all
interact with him.
right.
He's fantastic, and like I
Thank
get
you.
the blue sky vibes instantly. I remember once I called you for like Colin, I need that blue sky moment.
All right.
I mean, so
Yeah.
you're like the blue sky
Yeah.
whisperer. Like the moment anyone gets in touch with you, gets that. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
For sure. Oh,
And everyone
yeah.
who
Thanks
tuned in,
again.
and if you did, thanks. This is Authentic Hustle 27. Stay blessed, stay awesome. Bye now.
Thanks very much.